All right, we're back here, and we're back with Vet Social Voices Unfiltered. And I'm telling you, we have yet another just outstanding guest that I'm going to bring on, and just very excited that she is giving us her time today. And so I don't know what I can say about this person, but so I'm not going to do any justice. So I'm just going to bring her on and we're going to figure out who this person is, what she's doing in the veteran space and also in the entrepreneurial space. And hopefully we're going to get some value. I think we will. So with that, I'm going to bring on Nat Martin. Hello. Nat, there she is.
Hey, how's it going?
It is going pretty good here in Chicago. Yesterday was a beautiful day. It's a little cloudy actually, but the weather is starting to adjust to normal, which is, summertime weather here, which is really the only time to visit Chicago. Do not come in the winter. That's a warning, PSA to everyone. Do not come here in the wintertime. It's not as awesome, but there is something about, I'm not the biggest fan of Chicago, even though I live here, but in the summertime, there's just something magical about it. Last night, I went to a concert. I'll tell you, I went to a Halsey concert, which might not, if you look at me, you're like, wait, what? This kid's going to Halsey? But it was right. It was at right next to the lake. You could see downtown Chicago at night, just the beautiful lights in the background. You got Halsey there doing just a tremendous performance. And then off to the side is the Lake Michigan with boats that are out there in the little harbor listening to the concert, for free. Mm-hmm. And just beautiful. And then the thunder clouds rolled in because Chicago doesn't have stable weather. 1 second it's sunny, the next second it's snowing.
That sounds like Atlanta. We have and it's been storming here this whole week. So I had no electricity the other day. It was not even raining. Then it was thundering. So yeah, I think everybody's feeling the heat or the weather in different ways.
Yeah. So but I definitely prefer summer over winter, but we're not here to talk about the weather. So let me fire into this. And first question I have for you, and as I mentioned, why we were in the quote green room, it's the most popular question as a recruiter. And that is, Nat, just tell us a little bit about you. Who are you? Why are you here?
Who is Nat Martin? Wow. So Nat Martin is a lot of things. So one of the things that I tell people, I am a transformation coach, a resilience coach, and leadership developer. But I'm also a 20-year retired Master Sergeant for the United States Air Force. But those are just titles. Those don't define who I am. The person I am is a person that go out and help people every day. The person that I am is a person that go out and make sure that people just get up and become the best version of themselves every day. So literally, I call myself the real life superhero, and I go around activating people's superpowers. So something like a superpower activator. That is who Nat Martin is. That is what she does. And that's just what I'm about.
I love it. Activating superpowers.
Yes.
And I refer to a lot of veterans as the veteran Avengers. I
love it.
I think you're one of the veteran Avengers. So how do you do it? How do you activate? How do you transform people? What are some steps? What's some ways that you're influencing this change?
So I used to, I have different frameworks, right? So when I meet people, one of the key things is when I meet somebody, I always tell them they don't know, but in the back of my mind, I'm like, they're never going to be the same. They don't know that once you meet me and leave me and experience me, you're not going to be the same. Because when I meet people in any walk of life, whether they're still serving in the military, whether they're an entrepreneur, whether they're got a 9-to-5, it's like, I don't care if we even at the gym, you know what I'm saying? I hear something within people. And when I hear problems, I hear solutions. So they don't know my story. They don't know my powers. So I will leave them just the gym to activate them where they're like, man, thank you. So one is helping them see themselves. I help people identify who they are because through all of the armor, the mask, the things that we put on, the titles, we have associated ourselves with what that is instead of who we truly are. So I just create safe space first to help people see who they are so they can take the armor off and be like, I really like doing that. Or, I wanted to do that. And they feel like they wouldn't be able to tell that to someone else because they would be judged or looked at different. But I create the safe space. So first is creating a safe space, helping them identify something about them that they want to change. The next step is to reset it. We got to reset what is it that it's going to take, so just like we have an iPhone, we got to either do a software update. We got to either get some new tools into that toolbox, and then we realign with the things that they want to do. So the tools that I give them, we realign it, and then I call it the activation phase. The activation phase is actually a part of execution. Now it's to take action on what it is that you really want to do.
Okay. As I was listening, I was thinking, and I'm paraphrasing, you ain't gonna be the same, but no, which is great because it indicates to me that you're really bringing a lot of value to the people that you're connecting with, whether that's your client or just people that are in the space, which I've seen firsthand from you. So this is more maybe not individual, but there probably is a little bit of this. How do you deal with people? I'll call them agents of resistance. So people that are resistant to change. And I'll give you an example. It had to do with me actually. So I was still serving. I create this business that in 18 months made $1 million selling hats and stickers, and I started getting people that wanted to advise me, or invest in the company or whatever. And there was one person that did come to me, one of my investors at the time, and he said, "Hey, Ryan, I've got this person that I think you should connect with to coach you in this space." Mm-hmm. And I was, you would think having served 2 decades in the Army, I'd be so receptive to feedback. But at that time, 10 years ago, I was so resistant to change, to embracing others, coaching. I think it was because, unlike the Army, this was my baby. I had created this. So right. How do you deal with those people, those knuckleheads, which I've evolved over 10 years. So I've learned that doesn't get us to the next, that we can't move the ball forward by ourselves. Even as a solo entrepreneur.
All knuckleheads, because I'm a knucklehead too, and I'm still a knucklehead at times. Where we always hear you got to be coachable and teachable, but that's something that everybody say. You got to be coachable and teachable, but when you actually got to put it in work, that's where it begins to become difficult. So I would say, one, on the coaching side, if you're that person that's looking to coach or help somebody with change and they have resistance, then just give them grace so that they can go at their speed. So forcing people to go at a speed that they're not ready for is only going to damage them. So if you are the person that needs the coaching and needs to be teachable, then it's like, okay, you got to shape shift and, basically do a mindset shift and say, listen, I need to get to the next level. And the last book that I was just reading is The Who, Not the How.
Yeah.
The who, not the how, meaning like, okay, I know how to do this, but is this going to get me to the next level? Who do I need? So sometimes we have to take an ego check and sit down and say, I need that person to help me get to the next level. So I need to be coachable, I need to be teachable, and I need to go ahead and listen and then execute. So
that's the who, not the how. I like that. And there's another great book too, kind of along the same lines, which is Who Moved My Cheese. I don't know if you've read that book, it, but everyone needs to read. It takes like 45 minutes. There's actually some Google cartoons of it online, but it's along the same kind of the same line. So I was thinking like veteran Avengers, and I mean that's kind of what you're doing. You're activating these people, giving them their superpowers to enable them to make that shift. And I think there is something to be said, kind of switching gears a little bit, but sometimes it's time and place. People are not always ready to receive the gifts or the value. And I think that should be, in my opinion, I wonder what you think. I think that should be okay. Sometimes you have to let the idea or what they need to do, the feedback, socialize and incubate. And then over time, maybe they embrace it. Sometimes it takes time to embrace those things.
Sometimes the true work is what you can't see. So when people are in their growth phase and they're growing, you don't see them building up their discipline. You don't see them building up their habits. So until that actually comes to reality, the true work is in the foundation. So we give grace for people to grow and to learn and to become and to evolve, but they're already doing it. And then when they pop out, it's like, whoa, like something's changed. That's why people always say something's different about you, because people have been in the back behind the scenes doing the work. And so even what I do with personal development and professional development, people come to me for professional development most of the time, asking about business tips or networking and connecting. But when I do an assessment with them, I'm like, you're not ready. And it's not, David Goggins told me I don't have to be nice. I'm just a good person. So I told him I'm not a coddling coach. So I was trying to change how I handle people, realizing that me changing how I handle people is only going to hurt them. If they're not ready, and I see that they're not ready, and I can measure that, and I can tell if they go down this route, it's going to be destruction. Let me activate my own superpower and use my voice to help them, So, and then sometimes you got to take the lesson. It's the lesson and the blessing, where you got to go down there and learn the hard way and be like, man, I wasn't ready for that, but you got to learn a lesson. So.
Yeah, I call that failing forward. Some people think that's a little negative, but sometimes you do have to. What I mean by it is, you have to learn from, going through a process that maybe you've never been through. Sometimes you do have to fail, but if you take that as a blessing, and you can actually grow from those things, then you're able to ascend to the next peak.
Right.
So 100% agree with that. So I'm going to switch gears on you.
Okay.
Why don't you tell us, well, actually, let me back up. If someone is inclined, they're interested, and they need some help from Nat, how do we get a hold of you? How do we find you?
Well, I'm everywhere. So I'm on all social media platforms, first of all, because I believe in the power of online, meaning that I got so many help and resources. So I'm on every social media platform. It's I am Nat Martin. I mean, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, LinkedIn. I'm on everything. And then the other thing is my website, iamnatmartin.com. So literally the internet will help find you. Now, in person, I'm going to be the Superpower Avenger all around the world. So with this upcoming year, there are going to be in-person meetups. There are going to be in-person activations. And then I have retreats that people can attend to participate in. So that's how you kind of meet or see Nat Martin. So.
All right. I like it. I am natmartin.com is one way to get a hold of you. But I imagine if I went to Google and Googled you, you're probably going to populate pretty quick. Okay. So let's switch gears on that. And I was going to ask another question. I'm kind of just, this is Unfiltered. So whatever comes into my head, I'm gonna fire away. So I've been following you on social media for a hot minute. I don't even know how long, and I see that you like to travel. So let me ask you this. First off, what are 3 of your favorite places to visit? And then what are 3 places that you want to visit?
Okay. Well, the 3 places that I visited that I loved was Thailand. I loved Cuba. And my 3rd place that I love the Bahamas. I like the water. I like going back to the Bahamas. That's like my ultimate spot that if I kind of go a lot. And then the 3 places that is on the horizon is Bali, Dubai, and Jamaica.
All right. I have been to the Bahamas, so I will agree with that. I love the Caribbean. I've been all over the Caribbean. I think I've been to about 34 countries. So most of those, a lot of those are in the Caribbean. And there's so many great places. I would recommend to you St. Martin, if you haven't been to. St. Martin is beautiful. Barbados. Those are 2 additional ones that I'm forcing you to add to your top 3. So now it's a top 5 list.
Wait, you said 34 countries. I'm going to go count how many countries I've been to. I don't think me and my son, we used to have this little virtual map and it would pinpoint all the states you've been to and all the countries. I have to go find out what that was. And I have to see how many total I have now. And then now I gotta get to some countries if I don't have 34.
Yeah. Oh, you'll get there. I have this feeling. I mean, I haven't been to Cuba. How was that?
Beautiful. It was interesting. So when I travel now, I travel with 3 things in mind. One, is this a place that I can work and help and do business or humanitarian work? Is this a place that I can host my retreat at? Or is this a place that I can live? So when I'm traveling, that's what I'm looking at. Like, okay, when I went, and most of the time when I travel now, I also include some type of humanitarian work. So when I was in Cuba, I actually worked with a community center. And I'm a creative and they were creative. They created a community center because it was a trash dump. And the community cleaned up the trash dump and every piece of metal, like irons, forks, and they turned it into things that the kids can use. And they teach dance, they instruments. And I got to participate, of course, with dancing and learning rumba. And, so I was like, I want to come back and spend 30 days here because I love stuff like that. So that was special to me when I went to kind of learn about their culture, but also kind of be a part of something that was very special to their community. So, but it was beautiful. It was beautiful.
That's quite an adventure, actually. And the thing I can relate to, I suppose, is in 2018, I went to the Philippines and I spent 3 weeks there. And it was for my e-commerce. So I have many different businesses, but e-commerce is one of them, and making hats. So I was trying to find a new supplier. I ended up living in this village in the Philippines for 3 weeks, learning how to make hats, going to the textile markets, stuff I never thought I would do. And it was quite an adventure to be over there. It was in a business capacity, but I feel like I learned a lot from that.
Right.
Little thing. It was interesting.
Manila? Because some people told me I need to go visit Manila. So were you over there?
We had my team. We had our base camp in Manila, and then I was traveling to a place called Laguna, which is just north, basically, of Manila, about an hour outside of out of Manila, and then just going back and forth. So. Yeah, I would go. Manila, no offense to the people out there that might be from Manila. It's a little dirty, depending on where you are in the city. But then again, it's just a different world altogether. Right. It's the Philippines is definitely worth visiting.
We have a lot of
Yeah.
military veterans that retired over there because the cost of living. So that was why some people told me, you know, hey, pack it all up and come on over. But I was like, I'm gonna come over and just explore. But yeah, I mean, when I travel, one of the things that keeps me grounded and keeps me going to help people is because, like you said, you go to different countries, you go to different places, and you see that everybody lives different. Everybody's afforded different opportunities and different walks of life. So I like to just not be Americanized. Like I like to come in and like, hey, we talked about being coachable and teachable. I'm here. I don't know how y'all roll. Tell me how you roll, and then how can I assist? And so I've always take that off, but then it keeps me grateful because I'm like, man, like when I went to Africa, it was a lot of trash there, and I was like, man, I'm grateful. Like I'm just grateful. And but I love the spirit of the people. Like even though they may not have a lot, they have everything. Like their heart is so full. And that's why I was like, man, sometimes capitalistic society, we think we need to have all these things. And the things that matter the most is like the family and the experiences and spending time. So I value my travels for that.
Yeah, for sure. And what I heard is you've considered definitely moving overseas at some point, which actually I think a lot of us veterans we think about that. And there is some point where Ryan's going to unplug from the matrix.
Yep.
That's not right now. I still have kiddos that I'm dealing with, dealing with.
Right.
But there will come a time where I'm going to unplug from the matrix and move. You
Right.
don't even really have to necessarily unplug from the matrix, but I'm going to move out of the country. It's not because of anything political. It's just I would like to have a little different experience, at least in what I'm calling the next phase of life. Now, the final phase of life, I'll probably move back. It seems like a lot of my family moves to Las Vegas, and we kind of finish out business there.
Okay.
But first, I think I'm going to go on this adventure. There's one thing that is on my bucket list, and this is about you, not me. But one thing that is on my bucket list, I want to travel the entire continent of Australia by car.
Now, let me tell you, Australia used to be on my list, but then I seen these videos of these kangaroos. I'm not interested. I had to take it off my list because I like growing up, you see kangaroos on a cartoon, they look cute. But these videos, I'm like, this looks like, and they look next level. They look strong and like they're working out every day to just come find you and knock you out. Like, I don't want to experience it. I'm like, I don't even know what I would do. I probably would just pass out. Like, I don't know. Like, so those are the things about cultures. Like, what do you do if a kangaroo come? Like we know
you got to punch them back.
No, they're stronger than me. Like, no. So I tell people, I'm like, we know, like, what do you do if a black bear come? Okay. What do you do if a snake come? When I went to Thailand, my veteran sister was with me and I kept telling her, we got to be prepared for the monkeys. And she kept laughing at me. And she's like, you and these monkeys. I'm like, no, I'm scared. I don't want to mess with these monkeys. I want them to be where they're going to be. And I want us to be where we need to be, but we don't need to be in the same place. And she kept laughing until we was driving. And lo and behold, these monkeys took over the road. And I was like, we better not roll these windows down. We better keep moving because I'm like, these monkeys are gangsters and I don't want no parts of these monkeys. And I took a picture of one and I swear I thought he was throwing up gang signs. Like, I think he was doing a back call.
I think he probably was.
Yeah. So,
that's funny because Gibraltar has a lot of people don't know there are monkeys in Gibraltar.
Mm-hmm.
And so every time someone mentions, oh, I just went to Gibraltar, I'm like, did you see the monkeys? And I'm and the last person I asked that to, she's like, yeah, and one bit me. And I was laughing because they will.
I will either fight the monkey or I'll probably just pass out because At that point, I'm probably thinking I'm about to turn into something. I don't know. So that's something where, like, when people travel, but see, that's why I'm planning on doing my retreats, because I want to take people out their comfort zone. I want to take people out again. I want them to take the mask off, the armor off, and experience something that they may never experience. Now we're gonna have safety, because I don't want like, I end up in environments where it's like, how did we end here? But it's always a lesson. So we was in Thailand. I ended up in a cage with a tiger, and I'm like, I don't think this was on the itinerary. How did we end up here? I don't even like cats. So, but it's a one and done. I'm never doing that again. I live to tell the tale, but it was very interesting. So it's like, but how did I end up there? It's because one of the ladies, she kept talking about taking a video or picture with these tigers. And I heard a problem, I find solutions. So I figured out, well, what is she talking about? I found a friend, a local. Hey, where's these tigers? Then I secured us transportation. This was not on our itinerary. Secured us transportation. I set it up. I got them all ready. And then they're like, you're coming? No. I'm not, I'm not participating. They done counted me in. And I'm like, I made them give me the entire rule book. I'm like, y'all better follow these rules. It say no talking loud. It says no sudden movements. As soon as we walk in the cage, the guide, he just starts like being loud. And I'm like, be quiet. Like, I'm like, oh my God, like, you're not following the rules. My heart pretty much left my body, because I didn't know it was gonna be 3 of them in here. And I'm like, oh my God, nobody has a weapon. We just have a stick. I'm like, God, I promise you, I'm gonna be better. I'm not gonna live reckless. I promise you. But my body was shaking so bad. Like, I'm like, no, like, I couldn't move. He's like, touch him. I don't want to touch him. I respect people's boundaries. I just take the picture and let me move on. But the tiger decided to do a yoga pose while
Oh,
I
really?
it started doing downward dog and opened his mouth. And I think my picture, when he opened his mouth, my head could fit inside of his mouth. And all I could think is, God, just get me out of here, because I don't want to be lunch. Okay. So,
Yeah.
but afterwards, she was so happy. And so it kind of ties back when I say how I activate people. It's like, I didn't have to do that, but she wanted it, and she wanted to send it to her daughter. And I was like, I'm able to hear people's fill in the gaps for people, where it's like, they may not know how to do it. They may not have the strength to get up and do it. They may not believe in themselves to do it. Then here I come, and with my little magic wand, and I'm like, ta-da, you have just been activated. And then they're like, I feel different. I'm moving different. I seeing different. So kind of ties it all back together.
Love it. Love it. Okay. So I have purposely avoided talking about a huge topic,
Mhm.
but this show is called Veteran Social with the word vet in it.
Yes.
So I'm going to transition. It's a good way to kind of end us off, but I want to talk a little bit about Nat, the
Mhm.
former airman, airwoman, air person.
Airman. Big A
So
Airman. Yes.
I don't know. So tell us a little bit about. Well, first off, most important is why would you sign your name on the dotted line and potentially, well, you made a commitment for a long time, a hot minute, as they
Yes.
say. And it wasn't originally, well, I'm going to get out of the army, I'm going to retire, I'm going to be awesome after I retire. There was the original Nat story. What's the origin story? Let's hear this.
So, origin story of how I served. One, I signed up when I was 17. So I was in high school. Brief backstory is I was an exchange student. I went to boarding school. Well, not boarding school. I don't like that word. I was exchange student. So before diversity and inclusion was a thing, I was diversity and inclusion. So I had an opportunity to go to school in Manchester, Vermont, to a public school, and that is a very wealthy town in Vermont. But I was the diversity. Every year they had a program where 2 African-American students from Newark, New Jersey will come up there. So I lived in a house with foreign exchange students. So I had a sister from Japan, a brother from Spain, a brother from Germany, Russia, Brazil, and who I'm missing? I said Japan, in Japan. So we all lived in a house, and then I was the African-American girl, right? And so my last year I came back home because my grandfather passed. I wanted to come back home to New Jersey. So unfortunately, the school that I had to go to was not the best school. And when we submitted my college applications, it was not complete. So when everybody was getting accepted, I got incomplete application. And I was like, okay, I got to figure out a way because I'm not staying here. And so I was like, wait, this recruiter came to my school when I was in Vermont. Let me find, because the school I went to in New Jersey, the recruiter did not come. It was that rough of a school.
Oh,
So
boy.
I had to go find him. An Air Force recruiter would never. The Army recruiters came in here, but the Air Force recruiter, they weren't coming. So I found the recruiter and I just told him, I need 3 things. I need money to make sure I can take care of myself. I want to make sure my education was going to be paid for, and I want to travel the world. Like I already knew I wanted to travel the world. So he was like, oh, that's simple. Took the ASVAB and off she goes, right? But there was a hiccup. I told him I want to go to basic training after I turned 18 because I didn't want to be in basic training at 17 years old. Unfortunately, September 11th happened. My birthday is in September. So September 11th happened. I'm from Newark, New Jersey. So it happened right in my backyard. And that day, I'm like, everything went just changed from I can smell the smoke, see the smoke. And I'm like, nobody knew what was going on. So I was supposed to leave at the end of September, but things kept happening. So I got pushed to November. And then I joined the United States Air Force, and 18-year-old Nat Martin. Matter of fact, hold on, I'll show you. 18-year-old Nat Martin. That's her. And then this is also at the end of basic training. I was like, man, here I go. They gave me a jacket, even though both uniforms is just drowning me. But I joined and I was supposed to do 4 years. And you couldn't tell her anything because she just was going to do 4 years and that's it. And nobody's going to tell me nothing. It took me about 6 years to adjust to the military. I didn't know I was in. I thought I ran the military. They used to have a nickname for me. They used to call me Chief Master Airman of the Universe because I had no stripes, but I came in leading. And with that, it led my career. So every time it was time to re-enlist or either make the decision to get out, I had to look at where am I at? Did I achieve the goals I said I was going to do? Did I get off track? And that's kind of what led me to re-enlist each time. The first time, it wasn't even about me. Like I was in Iraq at 18 too. Well, I think I turned 19. I just turned 19 and then I went to Iraq. And so that experience made me realize that none of this is about me. Like this is bigger than
Amen.
I was like, I'm really in the military. Oh man, I'm really like, this is real life. Like wow, okay. And my job, I control fighter jets. So even though people say, oh, everybody wants to know, are you special ops? Are you flying a plane? No, I'm controlling them. So I was the eyes of the skies. I control any aircraft that entered our airspace for the entire region. And at 19, I was badass because I was so good at my job that we were not playing. Like I became so good at what I did, it led me to become an instructor. It led me to become the subject matter expert. And that's kind of what led me to become a recruiter because I started teaching the new recruits coming into my career field how to control aircraft, but kind of like life coaching them. And I was like, they are me. I came in, my first supervisor, he helped me learn how to balance a checkbook. He helped me get my first car. He helped me learn life skills. So I have to pay it forward. So that's kind of like how it all happened with me getting to 20, because it was not planned. It was not, I'm going to do 20 years. Absolutely not. I was supposed to do 4 and be out. So
I think a lot of us go in thinking we're going to do 3 years, 4 years, etc. And then next thing we know, we're sitting on Vet Social Voices having this conversation. And
right.
it's, with 40 years plus between the two of us of
Yes.
military experience. So that's awesome. And on that note, a perfect segue is, do you have one piece of advice that you would give to Ryan, who is beginning, well, not Ryan Hunt, but Ryan that's out there, or Nat that's getting ready to transition out of the military, and maybe they're 6 months out, a year out? What's one piece of advice that you would give them to help set them up for success?
The one piece of advice, man, one piece of advice, I got so much. The one piece of advice that I would give them is know your knowing who you are. The military does not define you. Your job does not define you. The titles do not define you. Transitioning from the rank to who you are. My pages is I am Nat Martin, because I had to program myself to keep saying that, even though Master Sergeant Martin is here, but I am Nat Martin. So I would say anybody transitioning out the military, anybody that's transitioning to any phase of your life, I need you to know that, know yourself. So know thyself to become thyself, to be the best version of thyself. And when you do that and know your knowing, then you can walk into your true purpose, because the military is just a vehicle. We conquered the mission. Like, we're all superheroes. But now, Clark Kent, we're gonna have to activate in a different way. So know your purpose, but know who you are first, so that you can walk into your purpose.
Yeah, I agree with that. And you have to realize that as you're beginning to make that transition, that the show is coming to an end, and that it will be different. And allow yourself a little bit of grace. You said this earlier about allowing grace, but even as you transition out, whether you were in for 3 years or 2 decades, you have to allow yourself grace to make that transition, to allow yourself to take off your Superman, super person costume, and transition into a different, into you, as you're saying. I was just having a conversation this morning, and I'll just leave the rank off, but they were they're still plugged into the matrix, as I call it.
Mhm.
And it took me a while. I was speaking civilian. They were speaking, Sergeant Major speak. And so I was like, I'm like, we're saying, and I knew, I'm like, we're speaking the same, we're saying the same thing.
Right.
But the way it was just, it wasn't, I was going to say, it wasn't really refreshing. It was just, I had to readjust myself. I'm like, even though they're old in their journey in the military, they're young bucks, because they're not transitioned out yet. They may lose some of this, like, very NCO driven conversation. Any officers are the same way.
Right.
It takes time to transition out. The point is, have a little bit of, give yourself grace
One
as you
other
begin
thing I
to
want
transition.
to tell them is what I realized, and again, guys, I'm 3 years young in this world, right? 3 years from
There it
retirement.
is. Yeah.
Right. And it still feels like yesterday. But one of the things that I always want to remind veterans is, you are a veteran. Let me make that very clear. So even though we operate in the civilian world, you are not a civilian. You are a real life superhero. Like, I mean that with the bottom of my heart, and I say it with my chest, because what I mean, and no disrespect to my civilians, y'all a little weird sometimes, but my veterans, I activate their superpowers to remind them that you were one of the 1% that served this nation. So 1% of the US citizens serve their country. So with that means that, even if you was a little slow on the spectrum in the military space, you're still the cream of the crop. You know what I'm saying? So I want them to remember, like, just because you're in a new space and sometimes you might have to start over, you might go into the workforce and you're like, man, this is lower than what I'm used to. You are still the real life superhero. You have superpowers. They just don't know it yet. And so you are a veteran. Remember that. Like, if you have to say that, I am a veteran, because you're not going to be like everybody else. You're not going to connect to everybody else. And your situational awareness is just going to be 1,000% stronger than everybody else. And those are skill sets that stay with you for the positive, but undo the title, undo some of the verbiage. So we have to unlearn to relearn and become, but keep our superpowers. And so
True.
I always like, because people are like, I'm a civilian. I'm like, no, you're not. You're a veteran. Like, act like it. Like you're smoking hot. Like, I can give you about 10 tasks right now and you can knock it out, you know?
Exactly.
So, yeah.
No, amen. So I think that's about it. We're almost done, but I do want to plug this, and I've been really thinking about this for probably the last 6 months, and I'll say this on the podcast, so it's from my mouth to God's ears. I really think that you should take a look at the bunker, at the Institute for Veterans and Military Families. You're already part of the family,
Right.
and you should take a look at the Bunker Lab Ambassador Program, because I think you can really bring some value to Atlanta, and I think they need you. I think the veterans need you, not only there, but of course globally as well. So I don't want to pigeonhole you to one location, but just I'll leave that out there. That's it's a plug for the Bunker Lab Ambassador Program, but also I'm trying to manifest I'm trying to manifest your destiny into that program if you have the bandwidth. So anyways, I appreciate your time today. I'm going to kick you off the stage and in this show, and I really do appreciate it. I hope that you will come back. I'm a little disappointed. I'm going to blast you here. I am a little disappointed because I don't think I've seen an application to Veteran Social Summit.
It's happening today. I knew it. I said,
I know. Listen, this is how I roll. Listen. And
I am speaking. I'm already, it's happening. Just again, I told you this is sitting down where I'm like, it's something I'm supposed to be doing. And I'm like, no. And that is one of the things that I'm supposed to be doing today. So I feel like
I do feel like we're friends now. And I think we've been building this friendship for a little while now. So I can just be straight with you. So you better apply. And with that, I'm kicking you off the stage. So thank you very much for listening to us. If you've gone this far in Vet Social Voices, it was really a pleasure to have Nat here today. And she just brings so much value. And if you're looking to activate your superpowers, you're looking to be a veteran Avenger, or even if you're in the civilian space, then head over to Google or go to iamnatmartin.com and have a conversation with her. You're going to be surprised at how awesome it turns out. Well, you won't be surprised. You just heard a conversation, right? So it shouldn't be a surprise how awesome she is and dynamic, and the value that she can bring to you as a person or as an organization. So with that, one last shameless plug: Veteran Social Summit, our Vet Social 25, is coming live 12 and 13 September 2025. It's going to be huge. It's going to be huge, as they say. We have over 60 speakers that are going to drop nuclear value on not only on the veteran community, which is veterans still serving, mil spouses, and basically anybody that's a proud patriot. So come join us. It's free $99. Head over to www.veteransocialsummit.com. And until next time, start climbing higher.